Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do another Solitaire review of the Hell of Stalingrad. Now, this is a game from Clash of Arms. It's been out for a little while now, and it's still readily available. It's a game that's been reviewed and by the infamous now Marco, and so I won't go through the rules in too much detail. I think he's done a really good job of that already, and as usual I want to talk about this game from a Solitaire player's perspective. Let's get to the review. What we have here is a setup of the German Solitaire scenario. And you can see here, this row here is 13 formations, German formations, and on each of these formations is a 0 level general, and that's all you get. I mean, if these formations all die and get destroyed, then that's the end of the game and you can't win. So and you do not get reinforcements in the Solitaire version, but the Russians get an unlimited formation. So you have unlimited time to win, but you have only limited units, and the only way to resupply your units when they're depleted is through the use of combat cards. So you know, the battles can keep going for a long time. Now up here you see 4 buildings. So basically in this game you don't go for a lot of buildings, you just go through 4 buildings from one area of Stalingrad. Depending on which area you pick, what I have here is the Central District, and out of the 6 cards I randomly picked 4 cards from the Central District, and these are medium difficulties. So if you pick the Worker District, say, that will be easy difficulty. And you don't play with all the cards. What I have here is you play with the German combat cards. Over further to the left here is the Russian combat cards, and basically these are the Russian formation cards. And you can see when we start the game, there are no Russian formations yet. They get introduced as at a certain phase in the game. The first thing that you do in the Solitaire game is to pick an area to battle. You can pick whichever one you want to go first, and you do the maneuver where you maneuver one of your formations to the battle site. And the number of formations you can move is dependent on this number here, which is a 1 here. This represents the concentration of units that can fit in this area to fight. So I've moved 1 here, so I chose to move the 24th Panzer Division into this oil plant here. And now it's a Russian turn. The Russians have unlimited formations, so you don't have to line them up to begin the game with, so they just come in a stack. And what I do is randomly pick 1. So I've randomly picked 1 here, and I'm going to throw the dice. Now, the reason that you throw the dice is to work out if they come in depleted, full strength, and what level commissar that you have. So say here I throw a 1. So in this case, a 1 or a 2 is a depleted unit that enters the fray, and a 0 level commissar. And if it's a 3 and a 4, this would have been a full strength unit with a 0 commissar. And if it would have been a 5 or a 6, this would have been flipped over to a +1 brutal commissar. And the advantage of the +1 is the Soviets will get an extra combat, play more combat cards. So that's a maneuver phase. Now we move on to the battle phases. And the first part of the battle phase, or any battle phase, is to apply the Vanguard effects of the various formations. The Soviets always go first, and then you apply their Vanguard effects. The Vanguard effect for this particular unit, the 92nd Naval Unit, division is this little thing. This symbol represents commando. So I've placed the commando unit here, and you see there's a symbol here representing that the Germans, when this is played, lose a combat card. I usually don't apply this yet because we haven't actually dealt the card, but I just placed that there to remind me that would happen as the game goes on. And if we move further down here, here's the German one. And the German Vanguard effect for this situation is you move in one of these Panzer tanks, which then can, and also you add a fire sim and move the fire tray. And you can see here, this is a German card, and there's their Vanguard Effect for the German card. And there's two symbols there. One is the fire. So when that symbol appears, you move the fire counter on the fire track forward one step. So here we go. And that's that. And the second thing that occurs in this Vanguard is the Panzer tank. So because that happens, you move a Panzer tank onto the building, and that symbol there means that this is an elite symbol. You apply that effect, and so you apply onto this poor commando here. He dies, and you flip him over, and he becomes an armored car. So so that I've applied the Vanguard effect for the 24th Panzer, and in effect it's neutralized the Vanguard effect from that 92nd Naval unit there. Okay, so the next part of the battle phase is the battle intensity effect, and so I've picked out a Carnage card for this, and you just read the middle section here, battle intensity, and you see the number here with the skull and the fire. So it means that you move the fire symbol, fire track, the fire 3 steps towards the Inferno, and also this battle has a battle intensity of 3, and you move the skull to number 3. So what I do here is move the fire 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, and the skull intensity, this symbol here gets moved to the 3. Okay, and we'll get to what that means in a moment. The next phase is the initiative effects phase, and using the same Carnage card that we picked up before, we apply the initiative, and the symbol here represents that in this particular battle the Russians have the initiative. So the Russians get to go first, and also the Russians get to apply they're sometimes useful, the initiative effect, which is the symbol represented next to on the building card here. So if the Russians have the initiative, they can apply. It's another one of those commando cards, and so that gets put back on there. The next part of the battle phase is the dealing the combat cards phase, and in each battle, each side gets 7 combat cards in the Solitaire version here, and you can see here I've picked out 6 combat cards for the German combat. The reason being is because of the commando unit that the initiative effect applied makes the Germans lose 1 card. And further up here, I've picked out the 7 Soviet combat cards to initiate this particular round of combat. And now here we get to the juicy part of the game, where we talk about the action phases of the Solitaire version of the game. It's not that dissimilar from the multiplayer version, and so this is the hand that we dealt the Russians, and there's a set of rules that dictate which cards to play first, and one of the rules is that he would try to play the strongest value card that he can. And in this hand of 1s and 0s and a hero here, there's a number 2. So he can play a 2 value card because he has a brutal commissar, and also this card is also a value of 1. So he gets to play this card, not infiltrators. And here, then when he plays this card, he can apply these effects. And so the helmets here means that he can place 2 helmet units into two infantry units into the building, and the formation. He gets to add a formation. So we pick out a random formation card, we throw the dice, he throws a 3, and so we move a full strength formation unit in there with a 0 level commissar because he threw a 3. Now, and remember, you need to apply the effects of the when the formations enter the fray. So I would add another 2 infantry units here, and also move the bucket one, because there's a bucket symbol there. And also he gets to pick out 2 more cards. So he gets to pick out 2 more combat cards. And so that is the end of the Soviet action.